program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have
Hello and welcome, everyone. Let's go ahead and open up those Zoom room doors and let everyone in. My name is Ruth Ellen Sanchez, and I'm going to be your host today on Daily with Doc and Becca. And this program is sponsored by dailywithdoc.com. Also, this program is for educational purposes only and not meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases, nor take the place of your primary care physician. And today we have Pharmacist Ben on, and we are going to be talking about cholesterol and the different myths about cholesterol. So is it a friend? Is it a foe? Or is it misunderstood? And also, if somebody referred you to this program, please make sure to get back with them. I'm happy to see everybody on Friday, Pharmacist Friday. I'm going to find Ben and bring him up on the screen with me, and we're going to get busy because Ben has things to do, and we want to make we do it the hard.
Yeah, I got things to do, but this is one of the most important things I do.
This is the most important
Becca.
thing, but I also want to respect that you have a hard stop.
Yeah, I do have a hard stop.
Oh.
But before I even start that, should we talk about our school here, AJ? The Pharmacist Ben Academy, or save that?
Yeah, let's say that's a Monday thing.
Okay, that's a Monday thing. Okay. All right. So
How are
cholesterol. Are we really going to talk about cholesterol again?
Yes.
Okay. So the most important thing about cholesterol is mental. I'll tell you about the chemistry of cholesterol, but there's a mental nature to it, a mental aspect to it, and that is we are bombarded, pounded on commercials and through the medical model and through doctors and healthcare professionals, the American Heart Association, people who we trust as opinion leaders that cholesterol is some kind of bad, evil thing. And because we don't understand chemistry collectively, we just go with it. Boogeymen and villains are very easy to understand. But cholesterol is not a boogeyman and a villain. And I know I say it all the time, but it's really important that yet I'll tell you why it's not, but it's really important that we filter through BS, that we have our BS detector on when we're given information from the mainstream. The institutions of the mainstream have interests that are distinct from individual interests. Institutions want to maintain their power. Individuals want to maintain their health. Institutions want to maintain their financial interests. Individuals want to maintain their quality of life. Institutions don't have a quality of life. They don't worry about quality of life. They don't worry about physical health. They don't worry about their children or their grandparents or their parents. They have completely different interests. And the institution telling us something has to always be regarded with skepticism and great, I don't want to say cynicism, but great care, because they're not interested in helping us. They're interested in helping us perhaps as a side effect. If they help us as a side effect, that's great, but that's not their primary interest. Anybody who's interested in your health will never tell you to shut down the bodies, to shut down any pathway in the body, except for perhaps as an emergency. And statin drugs and cholesterol suppressing drugs are not used in emergencies. They're used as lifestyle. They're used as lifestyle management mechanisms. Cholesterol is an incredibly important molecule, arguably the most important molecule in the body. You can't make bile without cholesterol. Bile is important for the digestive system, the detoxification system, the blood sugar system, the hormone system. You can't make vitamin D without cholesterol. Vitamin D is a type of cholesterol. Every day we hear about how important vitamin D is, and you're going to shut down vitamin D production? This is crazy. You can't make estrogen or testosterone out of cholesterol. How many people are on estrogen replacement therapy and testosterone replacement therapy? How many people are complaining about their testosterone levels? And you're going to shut down cholesterol, and testosterone is a type of cholesterol. Progesterone is a type of cholesterol. DHEA is a type of cholesterol. Pregnenolone is a type of cholesterol. Cholesterol goes to make the nerve covering. Cholesterol is important for your muscles, for your brain, for your nervous system. And cholesterol is critically important for your skin. Cholesterol is important for every single cell in the body. What is going on? What kind of craziness is this that we buy into this idiocy? Now, that being said, elevated cholesterol can be a problem. But the answer is not to shut it down, not to shut down its production, is to figure out why it's elevated. Secondly, while cholesterol is not a problem, rancid cholesterol is a problem. All fats can go rancid. All oily, waxy substances can go rancid, or oxidize is the technical term. And cholesterol can oxidize, and that is a problem. And that's why you want to be very careful about cooking anything that has cholesterol in it, how high the kind of temperatures you cook with. So you don't want to fry things. So, A, cholesterol is incredibly important. B, there's a reason why your cholesterol levels go up. C, there's a reason why cholesterol accumulates in the arteries. D, oxycholesterol, or is what it's called, oxidized cholesterol, it's called oxycholesterol, is definitely an issue. So what you want to do, A, is figure out why is your cholesterol high. Cholesterol levels are high because of blood sugar issues. Everybody, nearly every adult has blood sugar issues. It's part of metabolic syndrome because cholesterol is a building molecule. Insulin is a building signal. Bodybuilders are notorious for using insulin to build muscle. Farmers used to, they may still, I don't know if they still do it, they would give their cattle insulin to make their cattle bigger. Insulin makes things grow. Whenever you're growing, you can't grow without cholesterol. Cholesterol is a growth substance. It's a building block for growth. So the way you lower your cholesterol is you go back to the triangle of disease. The triangle, point number 2 on the triangle, the insulin, blood sugar, metabolic issue. That's how you control your insulin or your blood sugar, or your cholesterol. You control your cholesterol by controlling your sugar, by eating less. It always comes back to the triangle. Now, if you have to take a statin drug, statin drugs are used as lifestyle modification. Statin drugs are used for people to lower cholesterol when they can't stop eating, or when they don't want to stop eating sugar, or they don't want to stop eating foods that spike their blood sugar. If you don't want to stop eating foods that spike your blood sugar, if you don't want to do the things you're supposed to do, we're supposed to do with our lives, then okay, then maybe you might want a statin drug, but you're playing with fire. Chromium, vanadium, and niacin, which are blood sugar stabilizers and insulin potentizers, are natural cholesterol lowering substances. You want to lower your cholesterol, get on the healthy blood sugar pack. Throw in the ultimate niacin. That's the best, and the Fucoid Z for that matter. Treat yourself like a diabetic. Everybody should treat themselves like a diabetic. So if you say cholesterol friend or foe, it's not, it's like saying is oxygen a friend or a foe? You know, I mean, these are basic molecules in the body. There's no foes that the body makes. Oxycholesterol, cooking cholesterol, you have to be careful with. If you are cooking your meat at high temperatures, eggs at high temperatures, etc., foods that have cholesterol at high temperatures, then you probably want to make sure you're using high ORAC supplements, especially beyond Tangy Tangerine. ORAC is a measure. The ORAC score is a measurement of how protective a molecule is against oxidation. So get on your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Selenium and vitamin E are particularly effective at stabilizing cholesterol. So if you're using, if you're going to be eating a lot of fried foods, fried meat, you're scrambling your eggs, you're cooking your eggs at high temperature, cooking your fish at high temperature, cholesterol-containing foods at high temperature, make sure you're using your ultimate selenium. Make sure you're using your Beyond Tangy Tangerine for the vitamin C and the vitamin E content. All of these are going to be protective against oxycholesterol. And if you want to lower your cholesterol, lower your blood sugar. Treat yourself like a diabetic. In fact, if you want to do one thing to enhance your quality of life and longevity, lower your blood sugar and stabilize your insulin. Now, of course, that's the second point in the triangle of disease. You also want to make sure that you're working on the digestive system. But really, it's that simple, folks. It's that simple. You work on digestion, you work on blood sugar, and you get yourself on the mighty 90 essential nutrients. Whether it's the healthy, if you're focusing on sugar, the healthy blood sugar pack, if you're focusing on your digestive system, all the digestive support, everybody needs the Fucoid Z. Everybody needs the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Everybody needs Ultimate EFAs. Everybody needs what we're selling. Everybody needs what we're selling, folks. There's nobody who doesn't. You could get them, if you want to go out and cherry pick your nutritional supplements, you could do that, but why? We have it all packed together in a system for you, and we have it packed together in a system for you that gets drop shipped to your door every month. It's crazy not to spend the $100 or $120 to get the Healthy Start Pack, at the very least, even the plant-derived minerals. And I talked about this on a call a couple days ago. The plant-derived minerals are one of nature's best detoxifiers, and they will also help protect your cholesterol from oxidizing. So at the very least, get yourself on the plant-derived minerals. Next step is the Healthy Start Pack, and if you want to have something more specialized, the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. Cholesterol is not a foe. Cholesterol is your friend, probably your best friend. And the more you're building, the more you're growing, the more cholesterol you need. So if you're sending the body signals to grow and build, your cholesterol is going to go up. And by the way, LDL and HDL are not cholesterol. And if you read the fine print, you'll see it's called HDL cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, meaning it's LDL that carries cholesterol and HDL that carries cholesterol. LDL and HDL are bubbles that carry things. Cholesterol is fatty, and it can't go through the blood very effectively. So nature has equipped the body with bubbles called lipoproteins. These lipoproteins are little bubbles that carry cholesterol. LDL is low density, meaning it's light. It's kind of like floats a little bit, and HDL is heavy. They say it's good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. They're both important. And that's another silly way of distinguishing molecules in the body, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Don't fall for it. And I wish we had a doctor on the call that I could talk to directly, because I hate having to talk behind their backs. So get a doctor on here and we could talk to them to their face. Please. I'm begging you guys, because it's terrible to have to talk behind people's back when they're not here to defend themselves. So I want to talk to them personally. What are you thinking, doctor? Oh, well, we know, you know what they'll say? We know patients don't want to change their lives. That's what they'll tell you. Now, one more thing I'll say that's kind of interesting is blockages occur in high pressure areas in the body. They don't occur in veins, they occur in arteries. So what is that telling us? Why do blockages, cholesterol blockages, occur in the arteries, not in the veins? Well, the arteries are where you have a lot of pressure Pressure is where you have a lot of damage in weak tissue. When the pressure damages weak tissue, the body will patch up that weak tissue with cholesterol as well as calcium. Those plaques are a problem. Those plaques are where we create blockages, and those plaques can detach and create clogs and clots and thrombosis, and that can be a problem. So there is a rationale for it, but the real problem is we're not taking care of the problem where it's. Remember, where the problem you see, this is one of the fundamental rules of natural medicine, is where you see the problem is not where the problem is. The problem is not in the arteries, it's where it begins, which is at the level of the blood sugar and the insulin, which are stimulating the production of cholesterol. Also, one of the most important heart-friendly substances, and in fact, one of the most important energy substances for all cells. Quick digression, all cells make energy from a little structure called mitochondria. You all probably heard of that. Mitochondria turn fats and sugar, fats and glucose into energy. And all your cells have mitochondria. That's cells need energy. And by the way, it's all about energy. Everything, it boils down to energy. And so mitochondria depend on certain molecules to produce energy. One of those molecules is something called coenzyme Q10, which you all heard of, or ubiquinol, or ubiquinone. Coenzyme Q10 is produced in the same way that cholesterol is produced. So when you take your statin drug, you're also suppressing your body's coenzyme Q10 production. And coenzyme Q10 is incredibly important for the heart. So just kind of figure it out, do the math in your head. If coenzyme Q10 is important for the heart, and you're shutting down the production with statin drugs, which you're taking for your heart, you can see how convoluted it is. So work on your blood sugar. The blood sugar is the problem. The cholesterol is the secondary problem. If you're not going to take care of your blood sugar, you're not going to live a good, clean life, well, then you might need a statin drug, but a statin drug is not a panacea, because we know that statin drugs will shut down the production of other molecules, not just cholesterol. Statin drugs are inhibitor drugs, HMG CoA reductase inhibitors is the technical term. And anytime you inhibit a biochemical process in the body, pharmacologically, you're playing with fire. Simple as that. And then there's one more thing I was going to say about cholesterol, which escapes me at this point. Get on the Mighty 90, folks. Reduce your blood sugar, reduce your calories. You'll live longer. You won't have to go to the doctor, and you won't have to go to the pharmacy. And you'll improve your quality of life overall. Cholesterol, by the way, is important for muscles, and one of the most important toxicities or side effects or adverse reactions from the statin drugs is rhabdomyolysis, which is can be a very severe muscle disease. So look, we got to really kind of examine the messages that were being given. I remember reading a long time ago that in the Soviet Union, they love to drink, or Russia now, they like to drink vodka. And every time there was an article in a Russian newspaper that talked about how problematic vodka was, everybody knew to go out and buy a lot of vodka, because that meant that the price of vodka was going up. So it's the same kind of thing. The messages that we're getting have ulterior motives. And that means the messages you're getting on MSNBC and on Fox News and through the mainstream media, they all have ulterior motives. There's a reason why when you watch the news, you don't hear anything good, because the ulterior motive is to freak you out, to scare you, so you keep watching. The ulterior motives on news are driven by advertising. Why do you think you see advertising for drugs and for statins and for biologics and for vaccines every 5 minutes when you're watching the news? And at the same time, the news is telling you how important drugs and statins and vaccines are. They're selling you a message. Caveat emptor, as they used to say in ancient Rome. Caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. And that's all I'll say.
They want you to ask your doctor for the drugs. That's why.
Yeah, and there's only 2 countries in the world, by the way, that do that. They're selling you the drugs like they sell you Happy Meals. Why drugs are serious business, and I'm a pharmacist, and I know there's times you need drugs. I'm not Pollyannish about it. There are times when drugs can save your life, absolutely, or drugs can get you out of severe pain, obviously with pain pills. There's times when you need drugs. There's no doubt about it. It's this kind of gratuitous overuse of drugs to replace lifestyle replace lifestyle modification strategies. That's really the problem. And statin drugs are one of those. And because statin drugs aren't blatantly toxic, like you don't take a statin drug and keel over, take a statin drug and run into immediate side effects, they're considered to be more benign. And that's why they're talking about making them over the counter. And I don't know if you heard that. And, eventually they're going to be probably over the counter the way, certain other drugs like antacids used to be by prescription. And now those are over the counter. And statin drugs are in that same kind of category. Lower your insulin, lower your blood sugar. Elevated cholesterol is a sign of high blood sugar, high insulin, and that's why diabetes and metabolic syndrome and elevated cholesterol go hand in hand. Why elevated cholesterol is part of metabolic syndrome, and HDL and LDL are both important. HDL cholesterol and LDL cholesterol are both important. That's my rant on cholesterol.
Okay.
I love cholesterol. And by the way, cholesterol is great for your skin topically. Putting on topically can be very important for wound healing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
And Ben, I used to work in a doctor's office in 2010, and the drug reps would come in and buy everybody lunch and everything.
Yeah.
And this one day, this drug rep came in and bought everybody lunch, and I was up front. So the girls switched with me so I could be in the back eating before the next patient started coming in. And the drug rep started talking to the doctor, and he's like, based on our science and our research, we've decided that blood pressure 120 over 80 is high. That blood pressure is considered high now. And we want you to recommend all of your patients with that blood pressure this medication. And the doctor looked at him and said, "Are you insane? I'm not doing that. I don't want you to ever come back."
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Normal. That was my blood pressure almost my entire life was 120 over 80. And I just think it's, the drug reps and it's not their fault. It's their job, but the company
It is.
just,
it is, and I don't want to blame the individual. I don't want to blame the individual doctors. The doctors are good people.
yeah.
I have a lot of friends who are physicians, and they are really, really good people for the most part. It's not their fault. This is the culture we live in, but it's up to us. It's up to us as individuals. Remember, the individual versus the institution. We want to take our power back. I know I said it before, but I'm going to say it again because we're repeating ourselves anyway. I asked Dr. Wallach one time about why he called the company American Longevity. And he says, my two favorite things, health, i.e. longevity, America. You could do it yourself. No kings. You don't need authorities. Be your own health authority. And nothing is more important to us personally than our health, and you don't want to outsource it.
Yeah. And we do have a couple hands up.
Yes, let's take questions.
And I'll tell you, I did gain a little bit of respect for that doctor for saying that.
That's really cool. Yeah, doctors are good people.
Yeah. All right, AJ, the ghost. Hi.
That's me. How's everybody? Thanks, Pharmacist Ben, for being here, and Ruth Ellen for hosting. I have a couple of questions. First question,
Yes.
the pancreas and cholesterol. The pancreas produces items that break down the cholesterol. What's going on? Say that again.
There? The pancreas what?
The pancreas secretes substances that break down cholesterol?
No. Pancreas does a lot of things. The pancreas is like your house of enzymes. Enzymes are made in the pancreas. Many enzymes are made in the pancreas. Sodium bicarbonate is made in the pancreas. Insulin is made in the pancreas. The pancreas produces alkaline substances that go into the intestine to neutralize acid along with bile. So the pancreas is more of a digestive organ than anything else. I'm not sure what somebody's saying about breaking down cholesterol. Breaking down cholesterol is not a function. Did somebody ask that question?
Well, this is something that I have read from an article by this guy named Pharmacist Ben, who, but I don't want to misquote you. So let me just see here. It said
cholesterol is important for the pancreas.
Importance of the pancreas. It said Not only does the pancreas manufacture and secrete insulin for blood sugar control, it also makes digestive enzymes for breaking
Yes.
down protein, carbs, fat, and cholesterol.
Yeah, it makes
Bicarbonate for blood health and controlling the acid levels.
yeah, it makes lipases, fat digesting enzymes, but the pancreas, it's not broken down in the pancreas. The pancreas makes enzymes that break things down. That's true, but it's not in the pancreas.
Okay.
It's not like the pancreas is the center for detox for the breakdown of cholesterol, but the pancreas does make enzymes that break things down. That's true.
Okay.
Is that what you meant? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to add since we're talking about cholesterol. And Ruth Ellen, don't shoot me because I know that we have a lot of information on a new site that we created. So I don't want to spill all the beans from the information that you've shared. So I won't do that. But I did have another quick question.
I can talk about a really cool blog post I wrote today on our site about the American Heart Association has now officially approved of coffee for patients who have heart problems. I thought that was kind of cool. I wrote a post on that today.
Approved coffee as they're promoting coffee?
They published a news statement that said that coffee is now allowed. 400 milligrams, three to 5 cups of coffee a day is safe for most adults with, and actually they said it's associated with lower risk of heart disease and heart failure, and diabetes.
And you approve of this?
I don't. I find coffee to be gross, but I'm just talking about for coffee drinkers. They used to tell you not to drink coffee because of the caffeine.
Interesting.
And by the way, they actually distinguished coffee from caffeine. They said in this article, which is I posted the article as well as my comment on our school on Pharmacist Ben's Academy. They said they distinguished between coffee and caffeine pills and energy drinks. And that probably has something to do with the minerals that are in coffee. I would assume the iron, the magnesium, and such in the coffee, because they did make a distinction. They said that the benefits of caffeine in coffee for the heart are not the same as the benefits of caffeine in energy drinks or workout powders or in caffeine pills, which is kind of interesting.
Because it's in a natural state.
I would assume that there's cofactors, there's bioflavonoids, and there's minerals in the coffee. The coffee bean itself is a very good source of certain minerals, as well as polyphenols or phytonutrients.
No way to mention that for green tea. But okay, so my quick question, because we do have other questions. My quick question has to do with the FDA recently recommending peptides, and apparently
recommending peptides? What do you mean by that? Recommending? They don't recommend things. They approved. You mean approved? They don't. FDA doesn't recommend anything. They approve or not disapprove. What's the word? They restrict. They approve or restrict. They don't recommend anything.
So let me rephrase that. The FDA panel with ties to the peptide industry recommends easing restrictions on 4 compounds.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, peptides are molecules that turn things on in the body. There's 2 ways you can make things happen in a cell. We say in the body, but we really mean in the cell. You could either support chemistry that's already happening. That's what vitamins do, minerals do, amino acids to a certain extent do, and fatty acids, the mighty 9 essential nutrients. They support. Or you can make things happen. That's how hormones work. Peptides act like hormones. They make things happen. They turn things on. They don't support things. They make things happen. And this is kind of interesting because if your cells are not equipped with the vitamins and the minerals and the aminos and the fatty acids to drive chemistry, a peptide is not going to be as effective. In fact, it could be counterproductive. So that's why peptides are always going to be secondary to the mighty 90 essential nutrients, right? You follow? Peptides are like ringing the doorbell. But if the circuitry, if the electrical circuitry is broken or the electrical circuitry is short-circuiting, you can ring the doorbell all you want. There's no sound that's going to come out.
Yep.
Right? So you want to make sure your circuitry is working, and then the peptides can help ring the doorbell. But without the circuitry, it doesn't matter how much you ring the doorbell. The circuitry in a cell, in this metaphor, is the chemistry that's driven by the mighty 90 essential nutrients. They're always primary. The mighty 90 essential nutrients, the micronutrients and the macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs, are always primary to hormone replacement or to peptides. And peptides, by the way, are a kind of hormone replacement. When people talk about hormone replacement, they're typically talking about steroid hormones, or sometimes thyroid hormone, or maybe even insulin. Peptide therapy, if you will, is a type of hormone replacement therapy, except it's not as powerful as hormone replacement therapy, but it's on the same, it has the same idea. You have receptors on cells, and peptides sit in those receptors. That's the main way of working. So peptide therapy can be very helpful if you're healthy or reasonably healthy, or your cells are healthy. But if you're deficient in the mighty 90 essential nutrients, which most people are, you're not going to get the maximum benefit from your peptides.
Thank you very much, Pharmacist Ben, and thanks for being a great teacher.
Thank you, AJ.
Right. Excuse me. And we have Mary who has questions. So I'm adding her to the screen. Go ahead, Mary. Thank you so much for all you do.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, Mary.
Hey, Pharmacist Ben. I think I have two questions, maybe three. One is around, can you explain a little bit about triglycerides and how that
Triglycerides are
compares
blood
with cholesterol?
Cholesterol is not a fat. Cholesterol is a wax. A triglyceride is a fat. Body uses fats for energy. It doesn't use wax for energy. So it can't use cholesterol for energy, but it uses triglycerides for energy. Sugar is converted eventually into triglycerides. So the more sugar you have, the more triglycerides you're going to make. Triglycerides are a problem. Cholesterol is not necessarily a problem, but elevated triglycerides are. That's elevated blood fat. You have too much blood fat, and eventually those triglycerides will get deposited, and then you have too much body fat. So yes, triglycerides are an issue. If you're not an athlete and you're not really burning through energy, but you're eating a lot of sugar, that is a problem. And elevated triglycerides are associated with heart disease for sure. And that is something that you want to be careful of. But again, it boils down to the sugar. And that's really where, the first 2 points on the triangle of disease. And, I hate to keep beating a dead horse here, but we want to simplify this.
Sure.
And so the way we simplify this is control your work on your digestive health, and work on your blood sugar. It really is that simple. There's two things to do. Blood sugar by eating less sugar and less calories in general, exercising, drinking more water, using your mighty 90 essential nutrients, particularly the sweeties and the ultimate niacin and the fucoid Z, Osteomag, ultimate MSM, CFX, Zinc FX. These are all great nutritional supplements for stabilizing blood sugar. Ultimate selenium. These are all great supplements for stabilizing blood sugar. And then work on digestion. Is it too easy? Is that why it's so hard to talk to people about it? It just sounds too simple? What do you think, Mary?
No, I think it is.
It's just
fairly
so
easy,
simple.
but I think we've been, there's just so much programming that you have to deprogram first and explain. I mean, it's a lot of education. You have to kind of uneducate.
It's not complicated though, right?
No, it's not complicated, but you have to make life changes as well. And I think people are used to kind of doing what they've done. But if you want to see progress, then you have to make some changes in your life.
Well, fortunately, people who gravitate towards longevity tend to be skeptical. The people that we attract are a little bit, they question things a little bit.
That's right.
That's I'm sure everybody in this call is like that. And that's exactly a good thing. Scientists always question things. When that whole viral thing came out, a few years ago, blah, 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 I don't even want to talk about it. There was a saying that you heard on the news, Rachel Maddow, and, the Fox News crowd and all the people, I don't want to pick on her, but, the news people, trust the science. There's no scientist on planet Earth that ever said, trust the science. That's only something Rachel Maddow would say, or not to pick on her, whoever is.
Well, all of them.
Yeah. No scientist ever says, trust the scientist. Scientists are not trusting. Scientists are questioning. Be a scientist. Be a scientist in of your health, and be a scientist of your life. Question things. And I'm, those of us who are, Ruth Ellen, maybe there's not a lot of people my age here. I don't know how old you are, Ruth Ellen, but people who grew up in the 70s, what did we always learn? Question authority. Always question things, right? That was the thing, right? To question authority. Always question.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm
right,
one, Ben, and that's
okay, right? That's what we were taught, to question things. Be scientific. Be rigorous, and when you're making a decision or forming an opinion, be rigorous. And that's science. You don't trust the science, you question the science. Always.
I agree. I'm in your age range as well.
Okay.
So Second question is from YouTube, Wyoming Annie.
Hi, Wyoming Annie.
Does eating a lot of saturated fat, i.e. butter, contribute to fatty liver?
Saturated fat is not the problem that people think it is. However, you want to be careful about eating a lot of any kind of fat. But saturated fat can be a problem. Yes. But saturated fat is more stable than unsaturated fat. So when it comes to the problems with fat, it's the stability. In fact, when it comes to the problem with any molecule, it's the stability of the molecule. Stable molecules are going to be less problematic than unstable molecules. That being said, unstable molecules have a certain kind of chemistry that can be valuable. So it's not like you want to stay away from unstable molecules, but you want to be careful of them. Saturated fat is very, very stable. It doesn't break down. That's why saturated fat, even though it has this bad reputation, is less problematic than unsaturated fat. Saturated fat is solid. Lard is saturated fat. Butter is saturated fat. Coconut oil is saturated fat. Unsaturated fat is liquid. Your liquid cooking oils, for example, the oils you fry with, those are unsaturated fats. What makes them unsaturated and what makes them liquid is they move around. Saturation is like a rivet. When something's saturated, it's like it has rivets in it. So a saturated fat is riveted down, so it doesn't move. It's not flexible. Unsaturated fat doesn't have rivets, so it's flexible. It moves around. That flexibility can be very important, and it is important, especially for cells, for cell membranes. But that flexibility also makes it dangerous because it can break down and it can form dangerous byproducts very readily. Saturated fat, you don't have that problem, which is why Doc's always saying cook with butter. I say cook with coconut oil too. Doc is a little bit less in favor of coconut oil than I am, but I say cook with coconut oil or butter. They're both saturated fats. Lard also is saturated fat, interestingly, because lard has this bad reputation. In fact, one of the triggers or one of the cofactors for our poor health statistics, which started probably around the turn of the 20th century, heart disease and diabetes, was the advent of fake lard. Fake lard was liquid, unsaturated vegetable oil that was, instead of being riveted by nature, which is lard is riveted by nature, it got riveted in a laboratory or in a factory. In fact, it was cottonseed oil that got riveted because cottonseed oil is very cheap. Cottonseed oil is a nasty oil because it's filled with pesticides, because it's not really food oil, but it was very cheap. So when they figured out how to rivet cottonseed oil, they created something called Crisco. And Crisco is artificially riveted cottonseed oil. And that's technically hydrogenated. They call it hydrogenated vegetable oil. And you'll see hydrogenated oils on all kinds of baked goods, for example, or on fried goods, on like Doritos and Fritos and chips. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is fake lard, cheap lard. Lard's expensive because you have to have pigs, you got to have animals. But when they figured out how to create hard vegetable oil, hydrogenated vegetable oil, like technically, health statistics really declined. Our heart disease went through the roof, really. Now, a lot of that has to do with refined carbohydrates too. It's hard to isolate whether it's the refined carbohydrates or the artificial fats, but they both had an impact.
Gotcha.
So I hope that answers Wyoming Annie's question. Natural saturated fats can be very good for you, particularly butter.
Okay, I think that answers her question. We have
Butter's
another
a health
question.
food, by the way, and it's
Yes.
delicious.
Real
right?
butter.
More butter,
Correct.
more better.
There you go. There you go. One last question.
Yes.
It's kind of a comparison question. I'm not sure if you'll have the answer here, and I'm not sure if it's all of our products, but Olga asks,
Hi, Olga.
collagen peptides
Yes.
versus
Collagen.
free from collagen building amino acid blends. Do they
Free
work?
Wait.
Yeah,
Free from collagen amino acid blends?
well, I think the other brand is free, and it's
You mean it does not contain collagen, is what you're saying?
I believe she's saying collagen built. It's from It's from collagen building amino acid blend. Do they work the same? I don't know
I'm
if you
not, I know what
understand that
collagen
question.
peptides are, but I'm not quite understanding the second thing. Say
Yeah.
the second.
Okay.
Say the
The
second.
question is
Not the
collagen.
question. What is the second thing you're talking
The
about?
second is she's trying to compare it versus free from collagen building amino acid blend.
Okay.
Do the peptides work
Okay.
the same?
Okay. Hang on. Free. I'm just trying to understand what you said. Free
Me
from
too.
collagen.
Free form.
Oh, free form, not free
Ah,
from.
she says from. Okay. Free
Is it free
form.
from or free form?
Well, she wrote from, but
Okay,
she
that's
may
different.
have
Okay, from is form are
mentioned-
different. That makes
Yeah,
a big
well,
difference. Okay. All right. So it's free form
Yeah,
collagen
collagen.
amino acid. Got it.
There you
Got it.
go.
Got it.
There
Okay.
you go.
All right. So a peptide is a chain, like a necklace. Think of a beaded necklace. Beaded necklace made of beads, right?
Yeah.
A peptide is a beaded necklace. The beads are amino acids. A free form collagen amino acid blend is the beads to make collagen.
Mm.
A collagen peptide is the collagen. See the difference?
Yeah.
You're getting the collagen itself in the collagen peptides. The free form amino acids, you're getting the beads to make the collagen. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, because the collagen, actually, they are a little different. The collagen peptides not only act as building blocks, but they also have signaling properties. They communicate. They're like messages. So collagen peptides say to the cells that make the collagen, they say, hey, let's get making some collagen. You're not going to get that signaling from a free form collagen amino acid blend. The free form of collagen amino acid blend will give the raw materials, and that's important, right? Because you can't build the necklace without the beads. So you're getting the beads, but with the peptides, you're getting signaling. So I would say they're both important, and I wouldn't say there's one is better than the other. I think they're both important, and they probably should take them both.
Okay, so they do not work the same, but
No, they do not work the same. One is the raw material,
Yeah.
and the other is a signaling molecule. Now, that being said, it's possible that some of those peptides may get broken down to form the beads, but for the most part, those peptides are going to act as signaling molecules. Signaling is a very important phenomenon in biochemistry. Signaling is a message. So you can eat things or ingest things like supplements that will send messages to the cells.
Yeah.
That's how glucosamine works, or the glucogel caps work. The glucogel caps send a message to the cells. Hey, let's make some collagen. Let's make some connective tissue. The collagen peptides say, hey, let's make some collagen. Let's make some connective tissue. To a certain extent, the amino acids might do the same thing, but for the most part, those amino acids are the building blocks, the raw materials. So they're both important.
Gotcha.
And they act differently. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense now. We got it. Freeform. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Ruth Ellen.
Thank you, Mary. And AJ has his hand up, and then we have a couple more questions, I think. Maybe he's asking them. AJ, you're muted.
I was going to ask him, but you can ask the other YouTube questions or Rumble questions or what have you.
Okay.
You go right ahead, and I'll come back.
All right. Okay. All right. So we have on YouTube YT2011LR has a comment, I think, and a question. So their blood count on June 3rd, cholesterol was 274, LDL. I gotta move this over so I don't have to lean to look at it. LDL was 168, triglycerides were 304. HDL was 48. They declined statin, went commando on.
What does that mean, went commando?
I'm going to tell you, they cut off all the sugar, red meat, dairy. Doctor is okay with this. Next blood check is September 14th, and they're going to get back with this. And then the question is, do white blood cells try to protect your blood vessels from high cholesterol and therefore lower your white blood cell count a little bit or a lot?
I'm not quite understanding. Do white blood cells protect your have a protective effect against cholesterol. The immune system, yes, the immune system, there is an immune relationship between white blood cells and cholesterol, if that's what they're asking. But I'm not sure about, like, ask me again about lowering.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand that.
Again, and I'll do it. Do white blood cells try to protect your blood vessels from high cholesterol?
Yes. They try to protect your blood vessels.
Yeah.
Yes. High cholesterol and white blood cells, which are part of the immune system, are linked through inflammation. They're both signs of inflammation. And yes, white blood cells, particularly macrophages, which macro means eat, macro means big, and phage means eaters. White blood cells do consume cholesterol, and they get turned into something called foam cells. And these foam cells are part of the whole plaque buildup process. So yes, that is true. White blood cells will try to eat cholesterol. Macrophages will try to eat cholesterol, and then that will be involved. That whole foam cell process is going to be involved in plaque formation.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
And also, by the way, HDL can stimulate, LDL can stimulate the production of white blood cells. And that's one of the reasons why LDL can be important, is because LDL is important for the immune system. So high levels of LDL cholesterol, I should say, can stimulate the production of white blood cells. And that is actually a marker of inflammation, chronic inflammation.
Okay. Excellent. And then one more question, and then we're going to AJ. Is a fasting, okay, so this is Dylan on YouTube.
Hi, Dylan.
Is a fasting insulin test worth getting?
Yeah, but they're very hard. Insulin fluctuates. It's almost impossible to get an act. Is it worth getting? If it's really high, maybe, but because insulin fluctuates. You know, insulin, it's really, first of all, insulin is in the blood in very small quantities and all in very small amounts, and then also fluctuates so much. And insulin is not just for blood sugar. Insulin's for other nutrients. Insulin's tied to psychology, influence. Insulin is involved in a lot, plays a role in a lot of biochemical processes. So it's really hard to get a read on insulin because of its fluctuation. So there's not a lot of tests for insulin, for fasting insulin. They test for blood sugar because that's more related to your intake of sugar. It's more of a direct measurement of what you're doing. Insulin fluctuates so much, it's really hard to get a read on insulin. Your testosterone affects your insulin, your estrogen affects your insulin, your serotonin affects your insulin, your mood affects your insulin. There's so many reasons why insulin can fluctuate. It's really hard to get a good reading on it. And so most doctors aren't going to test for insulin.
Okay. Thank you.
But insulin is very important. Elevated insulin is a big problem because insulin is a growth substance, as we said, and that's one of the reasons why cholesterol becomes elevated, and that's one of the reasons why cells divide rapidly, and that's why elevated insulin is associated with cancers, because of the rapid division. So insulin is a problem. In fact, it probably is. It's just as significant as elevated blood sugar, but just hard to get a good reading on it.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. And AJ?
Pharmacist Ben, there is one other question on YouTube before I get into my philosophical debate with you. My question from YouTube, from Rosa, is what could help saggy skin?
Saggy skin is not a skin problem. It's a connective tissue problem. When we see skin, we just see one thing, but really skin is made up of two distinct types of tissue. You have covering tissue, that's epithelial tissue. That's not the part that people have a problem with as much. Epithelial tissue will give you problems with epithelial tissue, may cause some dryness. It may cause some hyperpigmentation, darkening, rashes, that kind of thing. But the sagginess is like arthritis of the skin or osteoporosis of the skin. These are connective tissue problems. That's why I've always said that if you want to do one thing to keep yourself from aging rapidly or to slow down the aging process, it's build your connective tissue. The healthy bone and joint pack is marketed, obviously, for bones and joints, but it's going to help you globally, systemically, for all connective tissue problems. So your gums are connective tissue. Your blood vessels are connective tissue. Your heart sits on a framework of connective tissue, the skeleton of connective tissue, if you will. connective tissue wraps around all of your organs as something called fascia, little spider webs of connective tissue. So when you build connective tissue with the healthy bone and joint pack, you're building your fascia, you're building your gums, you're strengthening your skin. So all of connective tissue building processes are going to benefit from the healthy bone and joint pack. However, building connective tissue takes a little bit of time. So you're going to have to give it some time. And not only are you going to have to do the positive stuff, you're going to have to eliminate the negative stuff. Sugar destroys connective tissue via a process called glycation, which you probably all heard of. So not only do you want to make sure you're putting in the inputs, the positive building substances, the healthy bone and joint pack, but you want to remove the stuff that destroys the connective tissue. Smoking is a big problem as well. If you're smoking, that's one of the worst things you could do. You can see when people smoke a long time, their connective tissue starts to break down in their upper lip. You can actually see the lines in your upper lip. You can tell when somebody's been smoking for many years. The connective tissue all over their face starts to deteriorate. So what she's experienced for saggy skin is not a skin problem. It's a connective tissue problem. And you want to build the connective tissue. And that's where the healthy bone and joint pack comes in. And that's where we're eating organ meat and bone broth protein and bone soup and collagen peptides and all the things that we do to build collagen. Again, building connective tissue is the very essence of anti-aging. And just like if you want to work on your metabolism, your biochemistry, you want to work on the first 2 points in the triangle of disease, digestion and blood sugar. That simplifies that. If you want to keep your body whole and intact and maintain your quality of life and your ability to move and reduce your pain and your appearance, your beauty, build your connective tissue. Focus on connective tissue. We want to simplify here. We just simplify good health into digestion, blood sugar, build your connective tissue. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
Okay, fantastic.
And let me say one last thing. All the cells of the body are embedded in the connective tissue the way a fetus is embedded in the womb. The womb the word for womb in Latin or Greek, is matrix. The connective tissue is known as the connective tissue matrix. The connective tissue is literally a womb, except instead of fetus, it has cells. So just like a fetus is fed by the womb, it's oxygenated by the womb, it's detoxified by the womb. Likewise, a cell is fed by the connective tissue matrix, it's oxygenated by the connective tissue matrix, it's detoxified by the connective tissue matrix. That's how important building the connective tissue matrix is. The pig pack, bone broth protein, the healthy bone and joint pack, all of those are designed to build the womb, if you will, the cell's womb. That is the matrix.
Fantastic. And you always talk about vitamin C being important and MSM being important, and they'll be able to go to the Pharmacist Ben Academy and get all the information.
And what I was going to say, and I forgot to say this, the Fucoid Z is one of the best ways to support healthy cholesterol processing. The Fucoid Z has something in it called sulfate. Can't see that with your, oh, there it is. The Fucoid Z has something in it called sulfate. And actually, there's glucogels also have sulfate. Wherever you see sulfate, you have a molecule that is going to improve the ability of cholesterol to travel through the blood, to make it more fluid, more water soluble, so it can kind of be more fluidy rather than gunky. And so sulfates can be very, very important for a lot of things, and that's one of the best things about the Fucoid Z, which is an amazing non-essential supplement.
Well, thank you very much for that. And just real quick, I'm having an existential crisis, Pharmacist Ben.
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping that you can assist me.
Maybe.
And Ruth Ellen, you've not heard this yet, and neither has Albert or Marilyn or Mary or anyone else but I'm having a crisis and I need your help. I need an intervention.
Yes.
I'm attempting to fast for 7 days.
Oh, wow. Right now?
Are you
in the middle of it?
No, I'm not. I promise I'm going to start soon, but I'm having, it's difficult. I've done it for 3 days before on a few occasions, but I want to do a 7-day fast because some influencers said it's good for you. And besides what you've said, and But the debate I'm having is, can I take my nutrients? This is my
Yes. That's a good question. I mean, that's a common question.
I should only drink water.
Here's the question. Here's the answer to that. And that's a common question. The idea of a fast is to reduce the workload on the body. The workload on the body is measured by calories. It's the calories that put the workload on the body. Calories represent a burden on the body. Obviously, you need calories, but they're also a problem because calories require processing, biochemical processing. They require the expenditure of nutrients. The micronutrients, the mighty 90 essential nutrients, are non-caloric. They don't have calories. They will support your ability to process calories and to process chemistry, to do chemistry, but they're not going to create a burden on the body. So yes, you can do your supplements while you're fasting. Now, if you're only fasting for a day or two, it's not going to be a big deal if you skip your supplements. But for 7 days, I would take my supplements. They may rag on your stomach a little bit if you have an empty stomach, so you want to be a little bit careful there. But you see, this distinction I'm making is about calories. Fasting is about calorie restriction or elimination.
Okay, but all of the processes, all of the cleansing properties that your body is going to go through,
they require micronutrients.
4 through 7. Okay.
Did I answer your question?
You did.
Yes. Micronutrients. Now you're gonna conserve some micronutrients by fasting. So you're gonna have a bigger pool of micronutrients, but it's not gonna hurt you to add more micronutrients. Just they can be a little irritating to the stomach if you take them on an empty stomach. So you want to be careful that way.
Thank you very much. And by the way, I'm going to leave now. And Ruth Ellen, you, if you didn't know it or not, you were an admin on Pharmacist Ben's new site, the Pharmacist Ben Academy on School, and we'll put a link.
Why don't you talk about it for a minute, and then because we only have a couple minutes.
No, that's it. We're Pharmacist Ben Academy. You can learn from Pharmacist Ben.
How do they get to it?
24 hours a day. I'm going to put a link, and then come up with a domain name.
Do it for people who are on different platforms that, because it's going to go out on Spotify and go all over the place. So
well, we'll have a link by Monday. We should get the domain name. But I'll put the current link on School. They can go to school.com and look up Pharmacist Ben's Academy. Thank you, Rudella.
Thank you, AJ. It's a great school, and I'm very excited about it. So I'll put that link in the different chats. And Rebecca did have a question going back to this cigarette smoking. And she, because you see people that Rebecca, our beloved Becca, is out there on YouTube right now or somewhere. And she says, would using a straw have the same effect as smoking on the
connective tissue?
Yes.
It wouldn't have the same effect as smoking, but if you're connective tissue, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. The smoking is not affecting your connective tissue by the inhaling as much as it's by robbing your tissue of oxygen and damaging your collagen. So it's not like the kind of that's what she's thinking. So Becca, it's not the part that's causing the problem. It's the toxicity. Cigarette smoke is very, very damaging to connective tissue.
She says, that's what I was thinking. Wonderful. That's what she says. Thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben. And I don't have any more. Let me just double check. I don't have any more questions. I don't think, but let me check. Because sometimes I thought we were to pick this up.
You can always, if you join the Academy, when's our Zoom call, AJ? For the Academy.
At 3 p.m. Eastern.
And that's just for the Academy, for the members of the Academy. So we're going to be doing personal Zoom calls and also answering personal questions. So join the Academy and you'll get your questions answered. It'll be much easier to answer your questions.
And when is that?
Sunday at 3 Eastern.
Okay. All right, very good. And so, Renee, I'm not sure. The Healthy Bone and Joint Pack is the Tangy Tangerine, the Osteo-fx, and the essential fatty acids, which is and then glucogel and CM cream. And they support your tissues. So that's what that is. And then Wyoming Annie is saying, I thought we were told to take our supplements with food.
Yes.
Which
You want to take your supplements with food, but if you're fasting, you can't take your supplements with food.
Okay. All
But
right.
yes, it's true. If you take your supplements are kind of like food. They're the active ingredients in food. So when you're eating food, all your digestive juices are going, you're going to get better absorption from your supplements, for sure. But if you're fasting, that's not an option, obviously.
Okay. All right. And I think AJ put the link in the Zoom chat for you, Renee. I think it was Renee. And that's where you would get it. So you could click on that. And Ben, this was a great episode of Daily with Doc, and a very, you talk about cholesterol a lot in different ways, but you talked about things today that you don't normally talk about.
I did. Okay.
You did. You just don't realize.
Okay. I'm just talking, so I don't know. All right. Cholesterol is my friend.
Yes, it is. So, it is the top of the hour, and
thank you, AJ, and
thank you. And I'd like you to stay for just a moment.
Yeah.
If I could get my co-host to come up with me, I need to do something that's from my heart. I'm going to try not to cry, and that includes you, AJ. All right. And Mary, I would like to hold a moment of silence for our beloved Rebecca Duke's mother who passed last Wednesday. So if we could just hold that moment and hold her in our hearts. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You are free to go, Ben, because I know you're a busy guy.
I gotta go. Bye, everybody.
Bye. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us today on Daily with Doc and Becca. And if your question did not get answered, please email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. And if you'd like to talk to a certified holistic health coach, you can call 855-949-3377. Sorry, I'll repeat that. 855-949-3377. And also, this program was for educational purposes only and is not meant to treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases. And AJ, what would you like to say? Your hand is up.
Oh, that's still up from earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. All right. So thank you again, everyone. And so with us today, supporting the show is Albert, who is our gatekeeper and our beloved gentleman from South Africa. And in the evening, if you call that number, you will get him when we're sleeping. And then we have Marilyn, who is our speedy fingers and doing dictation here. And we are super grateful for that. So if you're in Zoom, then you'll see everything that she posts. And then we have AJ, who's our digital marketing director. And there are no words to express our gratitude for all of the different things that he does to help us all, and Pharmacist Ben, everyone. So thank you for that. And then we have Mary, who is here, and she's out there on the different platforms, bringing in questions and asking them. And we are very grateful for all that she does, as the show would not go off as easily without all of them. And of course, without all of you out there on the different platforms. We are very grateful for you, because we know that you help us be able to spread Dr. Wallach's message and to keep things going. And we just love you all. And Sister Rebecca Dukes there, I love you. We all love you, and our hearts are with you. So everybody, please remember, always be kind. Be kind and be respectful. You don't know what somebody's going through, and that goes a long, long way. And we will see you next week. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. Bye for now.
This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor.